To the next presentation. Thank you very much. Yes, Thomas. Sorry about that. And Thomas, by the way, if you knew him from yesterday, but he is a senior semantic web consultant at Sparna, France. Okay, let's move on to Wouter. Wouter van den Berg, consultant at TNO Netherlands. Goedendag. And we're talking about building better data spaces, practical experiences with BOMOS, Semantic Treehouse, and GenAI. Wouter, alstublieft.
Thank you. Yeah, don't worry about the unfamiliar terms here. In fact, please raise your hand if you have heard before of BOMOS and Semantic Treehouse. Yeah. So that's just some context that I will have to give, but my purpose here, much like my previous speaker, congratulations by the way with your impressive demonstration, is to just show you two things we built, two demonstrations with a screencast. So that's the main dish here. But I'll have to provide some context of where I'm coming from, which is BOMOS, the method we had developed with partners in the Netherlands, and a platform, software platform called Semantic Treehouse. Let's move on. My name is Wouter van den Berg, and I work for TNO, a non-profit independent, well, the largest non-profit independent research and technology organization in the Netherlands. And me and my team have years of experience with open standardization in business communities. So not as much with open science data or open governance, but more commercial business ecosystems. And we help them create semantic standards, boost their adoption, and facilitate collaboration in general. And in our work, we see that interoperability is a recurring puzzle, no matter what economic sector we get involved with. The same challenges always appear, like we summarized here in the middle, getting the standard organization, the collaboration set up in the first place, getting governance set up, boosting adoption of whatever semantic resource is being made, managing versioning, and ensuring user-friendly publication, to name a few, whatever the sector. And what we've learned is that semantic interoperability is not so much a technical problem, but a commons governance problem. I think this is summarized by one of our stakeholders, so it's not my quote, by him saying, systems not talking actually represent people not talking. And this is very much in line with what Paul Groth said yesterday, I think, that interoperability in the end is about reaching agreement with in a group. And the challenge then is creating and maintaining shared rules and resources, or the data models in a community. And BOMOS, which is an acronym, I won't repeat it, it's a Dutch, well, I will. It's Beheer en Ontwikkelmodel voor Open Standaarden. So OS is the open standards. And this is our method. So I've included a link here, but I'll briefly go over it. So because these are the BOMOS activities. So this best practice document describes all these activities, all geared towards open standardization in a participatory sense. So it starts with the strategic part, which is fundamental, because standardization is not a one-time project. It's a long-term commitment, and financing that is a challenge. But also getting to very clear government agreements, like who gets to decide what and who's involved. It also covers tactical activities, like deciding on the architecture, community management, intellectual property, quality benchmarking. But today, I would like to focus on the operational activity. So this is where the agreements, the standards get manufactured. So it's a daily work of maintaining and developing the standards. And in these operational activities, BOMOS defines a few roles, and I want to focus on two of them in the operational activity field here. So think of the experts, the domain experts. They're fundamental, they're key to get to a semantic resource that's fit for purpose. But also they are usually employed by the organizations that have a stake in this standard. So they are very important to involve. And the other role here, that the demo, that we have to keep in mind for the two demos, is the functional manager. And I think yesterday, again, with the Paul Groth's presentation, we called them knowledge manager. So they are responsible for coordinating the collaboration, coordinating these standardization activities. And like I said, the demos I'm about to show you are linked to these two roles. So to support these BOMOS activities, years ago, we at TNO started developing Semantic Treehouse, an open source platform. It's a BOMOS support tool, but it's also kind of our living lab where we test out new approaches, new solutions to interoperability challenges. So this was the perfect place for us to start testing AI. How can AI help us with these challenges? Very briefly, here's what Semantic Treehouse looks like today. A community can use it to publish specifications, and users can browse them, be those specifications ontologies or schemas or any semantic resource. And any specification can be detailed and viewed using a tree view to the left, and the details pane with definitions, multiplicity, labels, usage notes, and so on. And what's also nice is the ability to create and view alignments. Mappings between different specifications, one to the left, one to the right, and make comparisons for others, again, to view. And finally, it includes an issue tracker. By the way, this is among other things, but an issue tracker where discussions and change requests can be explicitly linked to specific parts of the semantic resource. Because I can't stress this enough, the work, of course, is collaborative, and this tool is a community platform. So with having said that, our two AI proof of concepts, our demos, are focusing on these two operational activities, developing a new resource, kickstarting the process for the domain experts, so to speak, and the managing community feedback, so assisting the functional manager or the knowledge manager in dealing with wishes, requirements, and issues. So let's get going. Let's start with the first one. The development. So this proof of concept is about empowering domain experts. And so we give them a data model specification generator to help them start the development of a new shared semantic resource. A user can create a new specification, as always, in the platform, but now they have the option to select the GenAI flow. For this demo, my prompt describes a digital product passport for concrete products. So perhaps this community is trying to figure out what such a digital product passport would look like from a data perspective. And in the prompt, which we'll see in the screen right now, I've specified 3 components that I, as a domain expert, know or think should be included, like material composition and source origins, right? And then they hit enter. Oops. Yeah. So the LLM produces this complete message in Semantic Treehouse, and we can display it here. This includes the hierarchy in the tree, and also the labels of each element you see, and their definitions, multiplicity, and even suggested usage notes to comment on more semantics. And yeah, we can view the fully generated model on the platform. So this entire structure was created with this prompt. So this is a starting point. And of course, because this is happening on the platform, the community already uses, it can be shared, and others can get involved quickly. So we hope that the time to get started is reduced with this functionality. Okay, so that's the first demo. Second demo. We shift gears. We are moving from the domain experts to the functional managers, the knowledge managers, who are responsible for handling community-submitted issues. Okay, so this is the issue co-pilot. Here we have a list of... Wait, that's too fast. Ah, it starts already. Okay, so what I'm about to show you is the SETU environment, which is the flexible staffing standard. So you'll see words like time card or hour types over invoices, right? But the point is that we have an issue co-pilot. I'll select one of these issues, and we see the title and description, but now we also have a button, Get AI Assistance. And when the manager clicks this, they can select the context already available in the environment, like all the specifications, but also previous issues and way of working documents. Then they can ask their question, like, what exactly is the problem here? Help. And the co-pilot starts responding. based on the current situation documented in the platform, and this can become a dialogue. So the manager can ask follow-up questions like, if that's the case, what can be done about it, or what kind of actions do you recommend? So what makes this so powerful is that it leverages the existing strengths of the platform, because the platform already contains all these relevant documents, all these contexts, right? The specifications themselves, but their validation artifacts as well. Previous working group meetings, issue discussions, code lists, and so on. So all of that context is available, and we can imagine that the user adds a few documents for this particular issue here. Our initial tests with real functional managers has been really positive. So, to conclude, I want to emphasize that the point here is not simply using AI for its own sake. The point is that we are looking for ways to help these business ecosystems boost their standardization activities, make them less difficult, more worthwhile, while maintaining the same level of quality, helping them reach agreement faster. I also want to conclude with a nagging thought I've been having the last months, an idea I came across in a blog post by Pete Coman about AI, which raises the question, are we suffering from the horseless carriage syndrome? So for those of you who don't know, this refers to the tendency to use new technologies in ways that just mimic older technologies. Like depicted here, the first automobiles were designed to look and function like horse-drawn carriages. And I'm wondering if I am so accustomed to open standardization, the way we've been doing this for years, these BOMOS activities, that I'm only interpreting these new inventions like LLMs by comparing them to our existing process. In short, I wonder how people with a completely different, fresh point of view would innovate here.
Great. Yeah.
Yeah, we're good? Okay. With that question in mind, so finally, here's the research agenda we are currently exploring. We see three main directions. First, we are developing a more AI-augmented standardization processes. So I envision a kind of standardization agent that makes it easier for stakeholders to provide feedback on a proposed change to a standard or issue, because a lot of time getting that involvement is a real bottleneck for the functional manager, for knowledge managers. Secondly, we are researching autonomous integration and negotiation. So this is creating mappings quicker, more easily, but also, like Paul Groth mentioned, maybe negotiation meaning agreement with agents in the future. I'm not sure. And finally, third, we want to enable, and this is not essentially linked to AI, but we want to enable evidence-based standards evolution through mechanisms like observability. So this has long been the holy grail for open standardization initiatives. Like you make a standard and you release them in the wild, and then what's the uptake? We don't know, we are not sure, let alone how different parts of the standards are used. And using data spaces, we want to move towards data-based evolution. And we're looking at how observability mechanisms can help us get there. So ultimately, all of this works is to speed things up and make interoperability more agile and responsive. And we're actively looking for collaboration on these topics. I forgot to put the link to BOMOS here. It should be at the top. It's, well, if you're interested in this subject, I think it's a required reading. It's the gift from the Netherlands, I think. But you can also start exploring the open source platform, Semantic Treehouse, by following these links, having some resources, or finding the source code, or make an issue about the tool itself, or connect with us to explore any collaborations. Thank you.
Thank you, well. Thank you, Wouter. So here's a question from, unless we have a microphone question, do we? Oh, yes. Oh, please, yes.
Thank you. Thank you for the presentation. As you might expect, I'm most interested in the part for the data model specification generator.
Can you give us your name and title?
Yeah, my name is Maria Kate. I'm R&D manager for Meaningfy, senior semantic engineer. I went very quickly through it, and maybe my glasses are not as good that I can see the small text there. My question is about, is it just showing something, that something comes out of it, or did you check that something good comes out of it that is usable? When you have the GenAI there in the loop, that something that the taxonomy comes out of it, that you evaluate that. Does it take into account the existing specifications that you have in propose that the GenAI uses that in proposing something else, or is it just now possibly just work slop that comes out and you have to remodel it anyway?
Sorry, I cut you off, but I got the gist of it. So this is, in contrast to the second demo, we have not tested this with real users yet, only in our own work. And of course, the first thing we see is, can we break it? So this is very limited in functionality yet, because in many of these AI tools, you want to regenerate, or you want to regenerate parts of what came out, or and here it's just a one shot, right? So what we've seen is we tried to break it by giving it gibberish, and then it said, well, this is mostly gibberish, so here's a generic data model, and it was fine. We gave it other things like really irrelevant things, like maybe make a data model about Pokemon, and we got something. So one of the first things we need to do is have a way to validate the outcome and whether it's useful, maybe cut out things that are not. But also, the status of this spec is all at first 0.1 work in progress or draft, something not very valuable, not very high assurance. And it's up to the users to then elevate that to something that's worth others' attention.
Any other questions by microphone? Yes, please.
Yes, great. Thanks. Nice work. I'm really curious. I have two questions. One is a bit higher level about BOMOS, which is, where do you draw the line between just developing an ontology and trying to share that with other people and a full-on fledged standard that requires these multiple levels of governance that you laid out in that framework? So that's the less technical question. Maybe do that first.
So the point of BOMOS is not necessarily to create a new standard. I think one of the first thing, like on the first page of BOMOS, this well-known XKCD strip of 15, 14 standards is shown. So that's why architecture is part of the technical considerations, which is, okay, so what's there and what can we reuse and where do we need to extend to make it fit for our purpose? So I don't think there's a conflict here that was in your question. I think profiling is an important part of the work.
Fair enough. The second question, a bit more technical, is I noticed during the demo you have a sort of collaboration feature in the semantic treehouse where you get to comment, and it reminds me a lot of Git. Is there any relation to Git? Do you do some kind of mirroring, or is it like if you're using this platform, you are not using Git? And yeah.
From a UX perspective, we did some good borrowing of what the expected flow is. And you're right to point out GitLab or GitHub with these issue trackers, because that's exactly what's in here as well. So you can manage your specifications and do version control in Git with Git. That's fine, but they are unrelated technically speaking. What we have often said to other semantic treehouse is like GitLab, but not for, where GitLab is for open source code, semantic treehouse is specifically for open standards and specifications. So the thing that made us decide to make something new anyway is because of that tree view, and that you can make in specific spots, create a new issue in that tree, and then have all these components or all these facets of standardization linked very neatly. That's something we were missing ourselves.
Okay. Yeah, quickly, please.
I never do quickly. It's going to be a lengthy question. I really like your idea of okay, it's not a full-on standard, but hey, there's a data model that you can quickly start creating. If I understand correctly, it's also a little bit, the blocking factor that we often see in linked data projects is that okay, we need a vocabulary, so we're first going to scout all the vocabularies in the world and try to find the right one to reuse, and in the end, after a study of 10 years, you come to the conclusion that it doesn't exist yet. Or that it doesn't exist yet 100% to your liking. I think it's a very good idea to, instead of first trying to reuse, to just define your own semantics first. So we really need better tools for that kind of data modeling, and I'm really impressed by the screenshots, at least over here already, of Semantic Treehouse. I wonder though, because at the first stage, this will make sure that there are more data models. We're going to see a lot more data models all across the world now because of Semantic Treehouse, and we're actually going to have less interoperability because everyone is going to use their own data model first. Although I do think that first we need more adoption of linked data before we can start working on interoperability. But my question is what about the next step? Will you be able to do automated alignments now, and will you propose as well alignments to other vocabularies, and how will that work? Yeah.
So very briefly, the trick here is to get people to involved and then make something that mirrors or reflects their needs, and then in the platform start asking questions about how does this align to others? How does it align to a standard? So that's the basic trick. So that means that's the reason why we are building also alignment functionality. But Semantic Treehouse deployments are limited to a certain community. Like I said, it's not really open science or open government. It's usually some kind of business ecosystem that wants to become more interoperable. But I have to conclude with that it's mostly a social or collaborative process that we want to make viable, that we want to boost. So getting people to interact on the platform is already a huge win with this.
Great. Wouter, thank you very much once again. Thank you. So we have